Let's talk about how to correct mistakes on the form DS-260 after it has been submitted to NVC National Visa Center. Hello, my name is John and welcome.
USA MONDE.
The DS-260 form, also known as the Immigrant Visa Application, is a critical step in your visa process. Sometimes a mistake can be made on the form, and it's important to know how to address and correct them. In this video, I will cover everything you need to know, from identifying the mistakes, taking action, and understanding how the process works to ensure your case is not delayed. What is the DS-260 form? The DS-260 is an online form that collects detailed information about the applicant's background, family, work history, education, and travel. Once completed, the form is submitted to the NVC National Visa Center and it becomes part of the applicant's case file. The document plays a crucial role in the final determination of the visa eligibility, so it's essential to fill it out correctly. However, if you realize that you made a mistake after submitting the form DS-260, don't panic. There are ways to correct those errors. But the key is to know how to do it. We will get to that in a second, but first, let's talk about common mistakes on the DS-260 form. Mistakes on the DS-260 form can range from minor errors, like typos or wrong dates, to more significant issues such as incorrect family information. Okay, so those mistakes can be misspelled names, incorrect birth date or passport numbers, or errors in employment history or travel details, inaccurate address information, or omitting important details about family members. These mistakes can lead to delays in your visa process or worse, denial of your application. Therefore, correcting any errors is important for the smooth progression of your case. How to identify mistakes. Before we discuss the correction process, it's essential to identify your mistakes. After submitting the form, the applicants often will read they submit on DS-260 and realize that they made a mistake. Certain details were either entered incorrectly or left out entirely. Mistakes that can significantly impact your case need to be corrected immediately. For example, incorrect personal information such as name, date of birth, or marital status must be corrected. Minor mistakes such as misspell or city name might not cause issue, but it's always better to be accurate. What happens after submitting the DS-260? Once you submit the DS-260, NVC National Visa Center will review the information as part of the immigrant visa processing. Once the case is documented to qualify, it's usually forwarded to the U.S. consulate of the applicant's home country for further review. Typically, the applicant cannot access or make changes to the DS-260 once it is submitted, which is why correcting mistakes post-submission involves a different process. How to correct DS-260 mistakes after submission. Before we go over there, if you just received your interview appointment letter, you are in CR1, IR1, F2A visa category, you're preparing your visa interview, but you're thinking about what type of questions the interviewer will ask you the day of the interview, don't worry too much. We have an ebook with 30 common questions in CR1, IR1, F2A visa category with detailed explanation and answers that will help you prepare your immigrant visa interview. The link is in the description below. Now let's go back to the video. There are two main routes for correcting mistakes on the DS-260 form after it has been submitted to NVC National Visa Center. The first route is contacting the National Visa Center. Reach out to NVC as soon as you realize that there is a mistake. Okay? So the NVC is responsible for processing immigrant visa cases, as you already know, and they can unlock your DS-260 form for corrections if your case is still in their system and hasn't been sent to the U.S. consulate. Here is what you should do. You need to submit an inquiry. So you will submit an inquiry via NVC public inquiry form online. Okay, so in the inquiry, make sure you provide the name of the applicant, you provide the case number, and also you provide your name as a petitioner so they know exactly what case they are working on. You also have to provide details about the error made on the DS-260. In the inquiry, you're going to ask NVC politely to unlock the DS-260 form for you so you can make the necessary correction. I'm going to repeat it again. It's important to be as specific as possible about the mistake you made on the form, and also indicate which section of the form need to be correct. So once you send the inquiry, you need to follow up. The NVC may take some time to respond, so you have to be patient and but proactive. Okay, so what I mean by being proactive, you can check the status of your request by contacting the NVC if you didn't receive any response within the weekly inquiry time frames. Okay, because they kind of provide update every week. You can check it out and see if they are responding to the inquiries in the time frame you submit yours. Okay, so it is important to act on quickly, because once your case is forwarded to the U.S. consulate, correcting the mistake becomes more challenging. The second way to correct the mistake on the DS-260 is to informing the interviewer, the consular officer at the interview. If your DS-260 form has been sent to the U.S. consulate, basically your case has been sent to the U.S. consulate already, and NVC cannot unlock it, well, don't worry. You will have another opportunity to correct the mistakes on the form during the visa interview. So before your interview, gather any supporting document that validate the correction you need to make. Okay, for example, if you want to make a correction on your birth date, make sure you take your birth certificate with you and any other document that verify the correct information. Explain the mistake to the consular officer. So basically, during the interview, you will have the opportunity to speak with the consular officer reviewing the case. So be transparent about the mistake and explain that you realized the error after submitting the DS-260. Like I said, provide the consular officer any supporting document that clarify the error made on the form. The consular officer will make a note of the correction and update the case file accordingly. So in most instances, minor errors won't impact the outcome of the visa application. Now let's talk about tips for avoiding DS-260 mistakes. Some of you guys who didn't fill out the DS-260 or submitted to NVC National Visa Center yet, I have some tips that will help you avoid those common mistakes made on the form. Correcting a mistake can be time-consuming and stressful, okay? But it's very important to minimize the chance of errors when initially completing the DS-260 form. Okay, so what exactly you need to do? You need to double check all your information. Review each section carefully before submitting the form. Pay special attention to names, dates, and passport numbers. Have someone review the form with you. Okay, find somebody you trust, or a family member, or even an immigration attorney to review the form with you before you submit it to NVC. Can help you catch mistakes you might have missed. Ensure that the information on your DS-260 matches the detail on your official documents, such as your passport, birth certificate, and any other relevant paperwork. So making a mistake on your DS-260 form is not the end of the world, but it's essential to correct it as soon as possible to prevent delays or complications in your immigrant visa process. As always, feel free to consult with a legal expert or an immigration attorney if you need legal advice on your specific case. Thanks for watching.